man.
Yeah.
So staying there though, because it's funny how you've built into the podcast. For us, we're latecomers. We just jumped right in, right? Yeah. And you kind of built this following on social media, and I think I saw a post the other day. You think that was the best approach? Is like build your following. People know who you are. They trust you, etc. Then you can kind of get into the spaces where we didn't do that necessarily in broadcasting. So we're new to this space. But for you, you were like, you know what? I built this following organically based on a phrase which turned into merch. And now I could get into more of what I love, which is that broadcasting, podcasting type venture, right?
For sure. So like, I know we've had conversations when we met up at the studio. I do like these consultations with people all the time that want to start a podcast. And I say that all the time because one of the biggest issues I even have it is just getting seen or heard with your show. Like, you know what I mean? That's the biggest thing, marketing a podcast, especially right now because everybody has a damn podcast.
That's a fact.
Right.
And so it's like, well, damn, what do I got to do to make my podcast stand out or whatever? You got the best show ever. But if people don't know you or they don't know your brand, they don't really give a fuck. Especially right now. It's like, dog, why I'm going to listen to you when I got Joe, Rory, Maul, Bodega Boy, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Drink Champs.
I don't know y'all unless it's just the homies or your community and they listening to you. So I always say kind of work backwards. But now we in like a weird space where, you know, there's no rules to this. Like, you know, you guys hopped in with a podcast. I caught wind of it. You know what I mean? I'm not too familiar with y'all personally, but I'm like, yo, that's dope. And I could have been looking at it from a podcaster's perspective. But you could do it either way. But the easiest way for me, man, and I look at, again, my background is marketing. So I look at people like Kevin Hart, Nick Cannon, Steve Harvey, people like that. The biggest thing about them is them. They are their brand. Exactly. Like, you hear Kevin Hart, you know what you're getting.
Right.
So Kevin Hart can go host the Olympics. He can have a podcast. He can have a radio show. He could have a TV show. It don't matter because it's Kevin Hart. You're going to rock with it. Same thing with Nick Cannon, Steve Harvey, all of them. They could sell you anything because you fuck with them. So I was kind of following that model. Like, well, damn, if I could sell y'all a T-shirt, then I know I can get y'all to come to an event.
Got it.
You know what I mean? If I can get y'all to come to an event, then damn, I know I can get you to do X, Y, Z. I know I can get y'all to listen to a podcast because that's just an extension of
who I am. My brand, right?
Yep.
And really, that's the next step after social media. Not to jump ahead because I know we want to talk about everybody having a podcast.
No, we're in there, man. Yeah, let's let it flow.
Let you go.
Yeah, but you know, you kind of get a platform to talk and be you on social media. But you can only do so much. You know what I mean? You can only translate your voice so much in a tweet or on Facebook or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, if I really want to get deeper and I really want to talk to the people that really fuck with me or whatever, this next step is podcasting.
I like that.
You know what I mean? Like, if you really rock with graffiti, then you're probably going to listen to a podcast to see a little bit deeper into, you know, my personality because I can't give you all of that on social media.
Right.
And that's the part where I applaud people for trying to start podcasts because it's like, it's one thing to talk, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
It's another thing to talk about yourself. It's another thing to talk for 1, 2, 3 hours in a row. It's another thing to keep people entertained while you're talking.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the whole everybody has a podcast. Yeah, they do, but you could tell which ones ain't really
built for it or just not invested in it.
Yeah,
man, it's a true test. And honestly, just getting into this podcast space, like you said, in terms of people getting to know you, right?
Yeah.
Man, it takes a certain type of courage to kind of jump over the off the ledge and be vulnerable, man, and say some embarrassing moments or say some dumb shit or have some gaffes on the show, especially when you're going visual, man.
Yeah.
Like, yo,
That's
it's
different.
Like some people are kind of camera shy. I know I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just being open with that, man, and taking whatever comes with it. You know what I mean? Like, for example, when I said, hey, I made a mistake and, you know, almost hollered at a dude, right? My
Man,
DMs
what we
was
talking about?
my DMs was popping.
That was funny as hell.
Yo,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
man. I'm in the bed watching the game, man, and my wife come to the room talking about. So you talking to dudes now? So honestly, man. But the one thing about podding in terms of you are allowing people into your personal life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Especially with stories that just your guys know.
Did you get some dudes in your DM from that?
Damn.
I'm just
Nah,
you sure?
nah.
Would you tell us?
Yeah, would you tell
I would, man. I would tell y'all, man. I would tell y'all, man.
I actually think you would. I think you would.
I think you would too.
Yeah.
All right.
Had some bearded lady in my.
It's a bearded lady.
Hey, man. Keep it up. You're going to get a lot more than that.
So have you had some wild deep? Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, what's like the wildest shit you got on DM on Twitter or Instagram?
Man. Let me
That
be,
had you be like, man, this shit is just weird.
let me be, I was about to say, let me be careful with that. 'Cause
Ah.
I am married.
Hey,
That's
hey,
the
no,
other
no,
thing.
that's tough.
Knowing what does
they
That
gonna
is
run
the
up
tough
on
part.
you.
what does go on a podcast.
That is the tough part.
It comes home with you.
Yes.
It was definitely some dudes in there. You know what I mean?
That dick do.
It was
I like your voice, brother.
it was
I
definitely
like your voice. You have a radio
it's
voice.
definitely the I love your
Whisper
voice.
in my ear.
Your voice is calming. Right on, brother.
It's like
podcast.
It's like music to my ear.
I mean, there's a few. But yeah, I think overall it's people thinking that they know you. You know what I mean? Like it's the over accessibility at a time. Sometimes
got
that
it.
gets annoying, but it's kind of what you signed up for. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's what
people hear you, they listen to you once a week, twice a week.
Those are your listeners, your audience, right?
They feel like they're a part of the squad when you're talking with your homies. They got inside jokes with you. So they might DM you and cross the line a little bit. It's like, bro, I don't know you. But then you got to figure like, damn, I
do
know what I mean?
know you a
I'm-
little bit.
I'm talking to you every
This is
week.
what I signed up for.
You know what I mean? And as podcast fans, we know how that goes. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? It's like, damn, like I understand the language on a Joe Budden podcast or something like that because I listen to these niggas every week.
Every day.
Yeah, I'm saying? So people get weird, but I don't know. You got to know how to navigate around that shit. We grown, man.
I want to know. Like, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take a little. Like, I'm gonna turn left.
Yep.
How did you get the name graffiti? Like on all platforms. Like most of the time it'll be like
That's hard to do.
graffiti 3241 or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'd be like graffiti 1348. You have
Yeah.
graffiti. So that means
Man.
you were tapped in early.
Kinda. So
Oh, so you paid for it.
no, I wish. So interesting. So I used to all my platforms used to be graffiti so dope. And that was across everything.
Got it.
But people would call me that in person, and that shit got annoying. Like, yo, I'll be at the club.
What's
the
up,
DJ,
graffiti so dope?
Graffiti so dope in the bit. I'm like, man, like that shit sound wild cocky. You know what I mean? Like, but I just did that because I could get it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But not till recently. What was it about? Probably like 2019. I S-corp myself, so like just myself as a business, and I was trying to think of a name. Like I'm like, all right, I could do my government, or I could do Graffiti Johnson, or whatever. And I'm just like, that's graffiti, just that's graffiti, like simple. That's my website, that's graffiti.com. It happened to be available on every goddamn everything,
Every platform.
Twitter,
That's
Instagram,
weird.
Facebook,
To me, that's
Snapchat.
like really
Dog.
weird to me.
That's
Venmo,
like a
Cash
unicorn.
App.
That's almost like a
That's
unicorn.
unique.
Tell me about it, bro. So I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, this got to be it. So once I seen that I can get it on, for one, just Instagram and Twitter, 'cause
Right.
that's difficult. I'm like, man, I'm snatching that shit up on everything.
Every
About the
platform.
domain names, all that shit. Like,
Yeah.
nah, that's graffiti. If you search that, that's what's going to
But
come.
like you talked about brand before, right?
Yeah.
Like with Kevin Hart. A lot of the times brand is associated with like accessibility and like, hey, I remember who this person is like right off of the top of my head.
Yeah.
And that's graffiti. Like that lands, dude.
Yeah,
Like
it
that's
does.
not something that's easy to come by.
Right.
And like kudos to you for that, dude.
Man, I don't know how it happened, dog.
But you coming from but that name is like one of the pillars of hip hop that's outside of shooting and killing motherfuckers. Like I'm pretty sure if you was gunplay or gun talks or AK-47, them names would be taken up.
Yeah.
Oh, but you're saying graffiti is
But graffiti is like, yo.
But that's also why I had to make it that's graffiti, because people will be like, let me Google graffiti. Of course, you're going to see street art murals and shit.
Right.
You're not going to, like, very specifically, you got to say that's graffiti. And, that's where all my SEO and all that shit pops.
That's
up.
awesome,
powerful,
though, man.
So like,
And you say your background was in marketing. That's
Yeah,
powerful.
so I mean, that's where my name come from, too. So a lot of people just know me for graphic design.
so that's where the
Is that where it
graffiti.
started?
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
it's weird, bro. So shit, this is this.podcast, man. I'm gonna go ahead and just give y'all everything.
Yeah. do
so-
please.
I actually came into the industry, quote unquote, as a music producer That's how I know Dave. That's all that. Just making beats. Everybody wanted to rap. Everybody wanted to make beats. That's what it was. All throughout high school, all that. But I always been nice with actual graffiti and just doodling and, you know, all that. And so once that got into kind of, you know, bringing that over to computers and Photoshop and all that, I'm a tech nerd. So it was kind of just an easy transition to go from actual graphics and drawing to graphic design.
Got it.
And then with the music industry, me kind of being tapped in with all the DJs and shit, you know, shout out to MNLD and K-Tone and all them. That's who I came up under. It was like, all right, well, this little nigga is nice at art. You could do our cover arts and you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Then it started to click like, damn, this shit's more lucrative than me trying to make a beat for these niggas. I'm the one y'all call for your art. You know what I mean? Let me do the cover art. Let me do the flyers. Let me do the logos. So it started like that and just kind of building that name, just being the art guy. And,
Got it.
you know, people just started calling me graffiti. Like, niggas didn't know my name. That's a nigga that do graffiti. Graffiti. It just stuck. And I'm like, yeah, that's my name then. Fuck it.
No, that's cool,
Yeah,
man.
and so-
Because for us, I feel like we don't have that background. You know what I mean? It comes in a different energy,
Yeah.
right? Like we're definitely tuned into music, hip hop, art,
Right.
but we don't have a career in it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you've been immersed in that since you were young,
Right.
and you know, drawing, graffiti. That's how
Yeah.
you came up with us. For us, we're like, I don't know how you would call it. It's like we're more on the sports and, you know, tech side of we're not artists. You know what I mean? It's more analytical,
Right.
data-driven kind of thing is where that's how we kind of approach
I mean,
the
but
things that we do.
that's dope though. And again, that's the beautiful thing about podcasting. Like there's a market for everybody. And
Yeah.
I tell people that too. Like people get caught up on trying to take other people's audiences and, you know, we got to be the number one. Like that shit used to stress me
There's space
out.
for everybody.
That shit used to stress me out when people would be like, y'all got the number one podcast. Y'all got the number one. Like, dog, I don't want that kind of pressure on my helmet. Nigga, like say we got the number one funny nigga podcast or something. You know
Got
what I
it,
mean?
got
Like,
it, got it.
I don't want that overall pressure because there's an audience for everybody. So if you're saying, yo, my background is tech, like there's somebody that wants to listen to this shit specifically to hear you talk about tech.
Right.
Or specifically to hear you talk about sports. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just happen to come from a very hip hop ass background. You know what I mean? So I kind of leveraged that a little bit.
Got it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so